Have you ever been laughed at by the very people you sacrificed everything for? Have you ever been called useless simply because your success was taking longer than everyone else's? And have you ever stayed silent? Not because you had nothing to say, but because you were building something that would eventually speak for you? This is the story of Amara, a young African woman who was mocked by her own sister on the happiest day of her sister's life. But her sister had no idea that while everyone was busy laughing at Amara, Amara was quietly building a future that would change the entire family. And when the truth finally came out, the person who laughed the loudest was the one begging Amara for help. So stay with me until the end. Because this story carries a powerful lesson. Never mistake someone's silence for failure. Amara and her younger sister, Neka, grew up in a modest home in a small African town. Their mother sold vegetables in the local market. Their father had passed away when the girls were still young, leaving their mother to raise them alone. Amara, being the older sister, quickly became her mother's second pair of hands. While other girls went out to enjoy themselves after school, Amara helped her mother at the market. She carried vegetables. She cleaned the stall. She cooked for the family. And whenever her mother struggled to pay school fees, Amara found small jobs to help. Neka, however, was different. She was beautiful, confident, fashionable, and very ambitious. From childhood, Neka dreamed of marrying a wealthy man and living a luxurious life. She often looked at Amara and laughed. "Amara, why do you work so hard?" Amara would smile. "Because one day I want our family to live differently." Neka would shake her head. "You think too much. Life is about knowing the right people." Amara never argued. She simply continued working. After secondary school, Amara wanted to attend university. But there was one problem. Her family had no money. Neka had already moved to the city and was working at a fashionable boutique. Everyone expected Neka to become successful. But Amara stayed behind. She started making natural skincare products from ingredients she learned about from an elderly woman in the village. At first, she made only a few bottles. She sold them to women at the market. Most people laughed. "Who will buy this?" "Amara, you should find a real job. Stop wasting your time." Even Neka laughed when she visited. One afternoon, Neka looked at the small bottles sitting on Amara's table. "Is this your big dream?" Amara smiled. "Yes." Neka laughed. "You are still dreaming about these little bottles while I am moving forward." Amara said nothing. That night, after everyone had gone to sleep, she continued working. She experimented with formulas. She learned packaging. She studied business. She learned how to advertise online. She failed. She tried again. She lost money. She started again. And slowly, people began buying. 2 years later, Neka announced that she was getting married. Her fiancé, Daniel, was a successful businessman from the city. The wedding would be enormous. There would be hundreds of guests, luxury cars, expensive decorations, a professional photographer, and a reception at one of the city's finest hotels. Neka was thrilled. But there was one thing she wanted more than anything. She wanted everyone to see how successful she had become. When Amara arrived at the wedding venue, she wore a simple but elegant dress. She carried no designer handbag. She wore no expensive jewelry. She simply smiled and congratulated her sister. Neka looked her up and down. "Amara?" She laughed. "Is that what you are wearing?" Amara smiled. "It's a wedding, not a fashion competition." Neka's friends laughed. Then Neka whispered, "You should at least try to look successful for once." Amara remained silent. She had learned something important. You don't have to prove your worth to people committed to misunderstanding you. During the reception, Neka stood beside her husband while guests celebrated. Then one of her friends asked, "So what does your sister do?" Neka laughed. "Which one?" Everyone laughed. "My older sister, Amara." Neka smiled mockingly. "Oh, Amara?" She turned toward her sister. "She is still trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life." The room erupted in laughter. Amara felt her heart sink, but she forced a smile. Then Neka continued. "She has this little business where she mixes things in bottles." More laughter. Honestly, I don't even know why she keeps doing it. Someone asked, "Does she make money?" Neka shrugged. "Money? Amara?" She laughed. "She is too slow for business." That word hurt. Slow. Amara had heard it before, but hearing it from her own sister in front of hundreds of people was different. Her mother looked uncomfortable. She wanted to defend her daughter, but Amara gently shook her head. "Don't. Let them laugh. Let them believe whatever they want." Because Amara knew something they didn't. 3 years earlier, Amara had started with 10 bottles, then 50, then 100. Eventually, a small supermarket agreed to sell her products. Then another. Then another. Her products began spreading across the city. She registered her company. She hired 2 workers, then 5, then 20. She reinvested almost everything she earned. She didn't buy luxury clothes. She didn't buy expensive cars. She didn't announce her achievements on social media. She simply kept building. By the time of Neka's wedding, Amara's company had become one of the fastest-growing small natural beauty brands in the region. But there was something even bigger. Amara had recently received an investment offer from a major African retail company. The deal was worth millions. She had not told her family yet. Why? Because she wanted to be certain before speaking. She didn't want praise. She didn't want attention. She simply wanted to build something real. After the wedding reception, guests gathered outside for photographs. Suddenly, a black luxury vehicle arrived. Then another. A group of professionally dressed executives stepped out. Everyone became curious. One of them walked directly toward Amara. "Madam Amara?" Everyone looked at her. Amara nodded. "Yes." The executive smiled. "Congratulations. The final documents have been signed." Neka frowned. "What documents?" The executive looked surprised. "You're her sister?" "Yes." He smiled. "Then you must be very proud." Neka stared at him. "Why?" The executive replied, "Because your sister has just completed a major investment partnership that will expand her company into several African markets." Silence. The laughter disappeared. The same people who had mocked Amara moments earlier were now staring at her. The executive continued, "Her company is now valued at several million." Nobody spoke. Neka's face changed completely. She looked at Amara. "You never told me." Amara calmly replied, "You never asked." The next morning, Neka called Amara. "Please come over, we need to talk." Amara arrived. Neka looked nervous. "Why didn't you tell me about your company?" Amara sat quietly. "When I tried to talk about my work before, you laughed." Neka lowered her head. "I was joking. You called me slow. I didn't mean it. You embarrassed me at your wedding." Neka became silent. Then she said something Amara never expected. "I need your help." Amara looked at her. "What kind of help?" Daniel's business was struggling. They had borrowed heavily to finance their lifestyle. The wedding had cost far more than they could afford. Now, creditors were demanding repayment. Neka wanted Amara to invest in Daniel's company. Amara could have laughed. She could have reminded her sister of everything she had said. Instead, she asked, "What exactly do you need?" Neka began crying. Amara had every reason to walk away. But she remembered their childhood. She remembered sharing one plate of food with her sister. She remembered their mother working under the hot sun. She remembered the promise she had made to herself. "If I ever become successful, I will not become cruel." So Amara agreed to help, but not by simply giving them money. She offered Daniel a chance to restructure his business. She brought in professional advisors. She helped them create a realistic repayment plan. And she made one condition. "No more pretending." Neka nodded. "I understand." Amara smiled. Success is not about looking rich. It's about building something that can survive. Several months later, Neka visited Amara's company headquarters. For the first time, she saw what her sister had actually built. Employees greeted Amara respectfully. Large orders were being prepared, machines were running, products were being packaged for shipment. Neka stood quietly. Then she began crying. "I'm sorry." Amara looked at her. "For what?" "For laughing at you." She wiped her tears. "For calling you slow." Amara smiled gently. "You were wrong about me." "I know. But don't feel bad because you didn't recognize my journey." Neka looked confused. "Then why should I feel bad?" "Because you almost taught me to doubt myself." Neka hugged her sister. "I will never do that again." Years later, Amara became a respected entrepreneur. But she never forgot where she came from. She helped her mother build a better home. She created jobs for young people. She supported women who wanted to start small businesses. And she taught one lesson everywhere she went. You don't need everyone to believe in you. Sometimes the people closest to you will doubt you. Sometimes they will laugh. Sometimes they will call you slow.
They may not see the nights you spend working. They may not see the sacrifices. They may not see the failures. They may only see where you are today. But your journey is not finished. So don't let somebody else's opinion become your identity. Keep learning, keep building, keep moving, and most importantly, don't announce every seed you plant. Some things grow better in silence. If this story touched your heart, remember, being underestimated can become your greatest advantage. You don't have to respond to every insult. You don't have to prove yourself to everyone. Sometimes the best answer is simply to keep building, and one day, your results will introduce you. If you enjoyed this African story, subscribe to African Tales Arising and turn on the notification bell. Because here, every story carries a lesson, and every ending leaves you with something to remember. Until our next story, never let anyone convince you that you are too slow to succeed. Your journey is yours. Keep building, keep believing, and let your results speak.